Hi everyone, welcome to today's pre-session. Today I'm joined with Emma Rice from Code First Girls. She's the marketing manager for Code First Girls, and then she's going to talk to you more about what she does and her experiences with startup. But this is a pre-session for Techstars Startup Weekend, and we're hoping you guys can join us for next week, the 25th to the 27th of March. And tickets are still available, so please register in the below links in our description boxes. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Emma now and to introduce herself.
Thanks, Mary. Hi, everybody. My name's Emma. I am the marketing manager at Code First Girls. My background is very much in tech startups. My first job was helping run a tech accelerator, a blockchain accelerator, actually, based here in London. And then from there, I've gone up to work for agencies where we've worked with high growth tech startups who are very early on in their sort of in their business journey. And then from there, I've gone to work for larger scale ups and now working for Code First Girls. Ultimately at Code First Girls, if you don't know who we are a community, one of the largest communities in the UK of women and non-binary coders, mentors and instructors. And basically we're on a mission to transform the tech ecosystem in the UK and beyond. We are working to democratise tech education, making sure that free coding courses are available to women in the UK and beyond, and really trying to close that tech gender gap, which is still so prevalent in almost every industry. So what we do at Code First Girls is we have an education pipeline, if you like. We offer MOOCs, which are massive online courses, and you can catch those on YouTube through our website. They're very much an introduction to Python or React if you're very new to coding. Then we have our classes. Our classes are 8-week programs. Again, completely free. You can do all of these in the evening around your studies or around your current employment. And the classes are a little bit more in depth. Again, you can do an intro into a language or potentially something down the lines of software, slightly more full stack software development. And then we have our nano degrees, and our nano degrees are 13 weeks, 4 evenings a week. They're pretty intense, but you come out of that with a guaranteed job with some of our sponsors, and that could be ranging from GCHQ to the Cabinet Office to Nike to Selfridges. It's all very exciting. So we basically offer these free coding courses to women, and yeah, I guess I'm here today to talk a little bit about my experience working in the startup world, and then also really promoting how, especially if you're wanting to become a CTO or working as a high growth tech startup, you can use sort of products like ours and resources like ours at Code First Girls to really build out every string to your bow to make sure that you are the most solid founder going forward.
Amazing. So when you talk about Code First Girls and linking it into startup, how can actually students and our participants kind of start that process?
So like I said, as if you're a complete beginner, the best way that you can use the Code First Girls resources is probably by checking out some of our MOOCs. And you can do that through our website, which is www.codefirstgirls.com. And by watching some of them, you'll get a real taster as to an introduction to software development. And then from there, if you are wanting to further your tech skills, onboarding onto some of our courses, you'll have to apply for these, and these are region based. So say you are based in Dublin, you would apply for the classes that are available by certain sponsors in Dublin. If you're successful, you'll then have this 8-week course which can be done, like I said, all your studies can be done in the evening around your current employment or around studies. We offer those classes to two groups of women and non-binaries. They're either the career switchers, so women or non-binaries who have been working in an organization and are wanting to change their career, or graduates who have just come out of university or have come out of university in the last 2 years. So if you fit into either of those categories, then our classes are available to you. And then if you have done some of our classes and you really think that, you know what, I want to be a full stack. Actually, the nano degrees probably won't necessarily apply because they do guarantee employment, full-time employment at the end of them. So the nano degree is something that we offer our students who have come through our classes who are really wanting to go into full-time employment with one of our sponsors, like I said.
So as an instructor for Code First Girls, I know how intensive the classes are and the workload can be, but it's all beneficial at the end, seeing the students progress from not knowing anything to like knowing or having a solid foundation in like the tech industry and the languages that they learn. But would you suggest the students can participate in the modules and in the classes as well as start their startup on the side? Or do you think that's a challenge that students would face? Or do you suggest going through the course first and then after start building their startup?
I think you're right in that it is very intense. And I think one of the biggest skills being a founder is knowing your own limitations. And I think founder burnout is something that has been talked about for years. And hopefully now founders, I'm here in the Entrepreneur First offices and I'm surrounded by founders here. It's part of the general syntax now when we're talking about founders, that we talk about mental health and we talk about founder burnout, and prioritizing what is important to you as far as running your own business, starting your own business, and then also making sure that you are building up your own skill set using resources like Code First Girls, for example. Getting that balance is so key. So I think to answer your question, it's really about the individual and how they feel on a confidence level, prioritizing their time and understanding their own limitations. Like you say, the courses are very intense, especially the nano degrees. But if we're talking more about the classes, again, they will be done in the evenings and they are designed to be done around full-time study or full-time employment. So if you're a founder and you're going at this by thinking that you're going to run your own business, but you're going to be very strict with your working hours, so you're going to try and run it like a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6:30, that's absolutely fine. You can do our courses in the evening. If you're going gung-ho and it's going to be a 12-hour days non-stop for you, then potentially our classes aren't right, because we really have a very high caliber of women who come through our classes and our nano degrees, as you know, Mary. We get fantastic feedback from our clients as far as what they say their candidates are concerned. So the training is difficult, but it's not we have 100% success rate as far as retention is concerned. So it's difficult, but it's not unattainable. So I think, again, to answer your question, it's all about the individual and the limitations of your day, how much you want to stretch yourself. But it is absolutely doable. It's completely designed to do around employment or studies. So yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. I agree. Like if the student is very strict with like their timing, they can possibly do the same thing at the same time. So definitely agree. Can you tell us about your experiences with like working in startup, and also how you can kind of link that to like the challenges that startup companies face or startup founders?
I mean, the challenges that startups face are nonstop. It's a marathon, and it's not easy, and that's why, you know, not everybody goes and starts their own business. But if you have that resilience and you have the hunger and the drive, there's probably nothing more rewarding than running your own business and making, you know, it a successful model. And I think for me, so I started working for a blockchain accelerator, which was a fantastic introduction into the world of tech, because working for an accelerator, you see so many different cohorts and so many different startup founders come through. And really the founders who have been the most successful from those first cohorts have been the ones that have been able to be agile and versatile and understand that the first iteration of their product is not going to be the final one. Some of the ideas that were born in the accelerator have flipped 360, have changed direction hundreds of times, but ultimately that's important when you're trying to assess your market fit. You can't be stubborn in any way. And, you know, I'm coming from a marketing perspective where I was helping a lot of the startups with their marketing from the off. I would say that marketing is very often something that startups don't think about early enough. If you are folding in your mission and your purpose and your values as a company early on, then it's going to really help anchor you as a business going forward. And then working for an agency, which I then went to do, was again very interesting because we were working with a lot of different high growth startups at any one time with very different challenges. And what I would say there again is that the founders and the startups that again were versatile and agile in listening to their audiences are the ones that managed to stay afloat. So if you can bring in and fold in customer feedback from a very early on stage, and again that's kind of folded into marketing, then the better. So that's kind of my experience, and then coming through and working for a high growth scale up like Code First Girls. I'm kind of back in the driving seat where I'm no longer consulting, but I'm actually working in-house. And it's so much fun. It's so high growth. It's so high energy. Of course, it's exhausting. But I think one of the key things which we're really lucky at Code First Girls is that we have an organization that really supports each other. And that is so much folded into our community of women and non-binary coders who are coming through our organization. And then the values that hold us true to who we are at Code First Girls. That's what keeps us going. So having those values and that core mission at the center of everything that you do, I think is one of the biggest takeaways that I would say. And then the second one comes from the agility, versatility, and customer feedback angle, you know, making sure that you're constantly listening, constantly thinking about different iterations of your product until you finally settle on something that has a clear, proven market fit.
Okay, that's amazing. I like that. I like that answer. Another question that I had was, in Code First Girls, we cater our materials, our courses to graduates and career switchers. Do you think the same applies for tech, for startup founders? Like, do you think only young people are able to actually start up their own businesses, or can the same apply for females who are like switching careers as well, or in their let's say mid 40s maybe, who want to have an idea and they want to start it up? Like,
I just, from what I've seen in my experience, we've had a complete range of demographics, complete range of socioeconomic backgrounds, complete range of experience level. And I think all of those things are so important. Just like we need diversity in tech going forward, you know, especially from a coding perspective. If we're coding the future, we want to make sure that our coders are a diverse set who are creating that work. as far as, you know, the businesses that are going to lead us forward, we need to make sure that our founders are as diverse as possible too. And that counts for age, that counts for sexuality, that counts for gender, it counts for everything. We need to make sure that we're encouraging founders at every stage of their career. And, you know, yes, okay, maybe if you are a fresh graduate, you might have the hunger and the academic knowledge that might be necessary, especially if you're coming at it from a data science perspective. If you're just fresh out of a PhD, a lot of the founders here at Entrepreneur First, for example, have come out of just doing a PhD because that's very important to the business that they're trying to run. Yeah, okay, sure, that's very important. But also some of the most successful founders have been those who have worked in organizations, seen how they have gone forward and failed for certain reasons, have that life experience behind them. You know, some founders have come from being nurses, from being teachers, from working in the public sector. It's all about the experience that you grow, that is then, from an investor point of view, going to give you all the more reason and all the more validation to give over that funding. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, in my experience, I have seen the most versatile range of founders that there is. And I would encourage anybody who feels like they have imposter syndrome, or they don't have the right training, or they don't have the right background. It doesn't matter. If you've got the drive and you know what you're building and you care about it, well, it does matter to a certain extent, to a point where you need to go away and make sure that you're getting the right experience behind you. So an investor isn't going to turn around and say, why on earth should I invest in you? Yeah, okay, use resources that are available to you, like Code First Girls, for example, that will enable you to build up your tech experience, build up that other experience, and then go forward and create your business.
Amazing. So next weekend is the Tech Startup weekend, and we have plenty of workshops and plenty of sessions for the students to take part in. What advice would you give to those students as they progress and as the days lead on or weeks lead on to actually the Tech Startup weekend actually started? So what advice would you give to the students?
I think from a really practical level, this is not a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it could be a career defining opportunity. Mm-hmm. So don't take it lightly. Like, get enough sleep, make sure you pack yourself some good snacks. Like, you have been given an opportunity here and you want to make the most of that. And that means going into it in your best, as your best self. So make sure that you're speaking to everybody. One tip that I would say is, just make sure that you're taking down any speaker names. Always shoot them a quick email afterwards, thanking them for their time. Try and connect on LinkedIn. Every resource that is available to you, you want to be maximizing. So as far as tips going into the weekend, I would just say, use everything that has been put available to you there, because it's you're very lucky to have those resources available. And I'm sure that there are potential founders everywhere who would love the same opportunity. So make the most of it and you'll come out of it feeling super enriched. So yeah, I'm almost jealous.
I agree. Also, like, everyone that you could meet could be a possible investor into your ideas as well. So definitely the network and the connection type aspect of next weekend is so important. Yeah, I totally agree. And just to finish off, Emma, I was wondering if you could tell us the impact or the positivities that you've seen from Code First Girls in terms of students succeeding outside or after finishing their courses.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to give you an insight into our community, we're 55,000 and growing women and non-binary coders now. Over 55% of them are from underrepresented ethnicities. 93% of them have been influenced into a career in tech because of Code First Girls and the training that we've offered them. 26% identify as neurodiverse, which is fantastic. And, you know, as far as our success rate is concerned, like I say, we are talking about the ridiculous statistic of 100% retention rate at the minute, which is fantastic. And, you know, 54% are currently seeking or currently looking for a new job in tech from our community. So if we're talking about success rate as far as providing women with the opportunity as and the doorway into STEM, you know, the stats kind of speak for themselves. 80%, actually, just to reel off another stat, 80% of students are from a non-computer or science or STEM background. So that gives you an insight into how much Code First Girls is doing as far as encouraging women who might have studied a humanities degree, or they might potentially be working in an organization where their job has absolutely nothing to do with tech. They can go through our pipeline, they can check out our MOOCs, they can then get onboarded onto our courses, and then maybe even eventually get full-time employment through our nano degrees. 80% of those women within our community have not had traditional STEM training. So these courses are completely available to you if you've got a background in STEM, or if you don't. We are here and we are on a mission to make sure that women and non-binary people feel empowered and feel like there is a place for them in the future tech ecosystem, because there 100% is. So yeah, it's a really exciting time to be involved with Code First Girls. It's also a really exciting time to be a woman or a non-binary person working in technology, because there are a huge amount of resources and support networks and communities out there to make sure that we are providing the right role models for the next generation of female and non-binary tech leaders.
Yeah, I can really attest to that. Hosting MOOCs or hosting classes, and the students would connect to me on LinkedIn and be like, I really enjoyed your class. How do I learn more, and how do I progress in Code First Girls through the courses? And then even seeing my students from when they begin and into the end, and now they're like data analysts in like NatWest or in like Barclays, or it's just amazing. And they all come from like a non-STEM background. I think one of the girls that I was teaching last year, she was like a stay-at-home mom for like 20 years, and then said she wanted to like get into tech, and now she has a job as a data analyst. Like, wow.
That's the thing. And you know, we don't talk about money enough, but these starting salaries are high. You know, we're talking 30k to 50k, and if you know, sometimes even higher. You might be a mum that's just come back off maternity leave, and you're thinking, I need a job that is flexible, well paid, and I need a job that is ultimately going to use all of the skills that are available to me. And coding may well be that. And if that's the case, then 100%, we need more mums who are coders. I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you so much, Emma, for joining us today. And I'm sure everyone in the audience actually enjoyed this conversation and enjoyed learning about your experience and the background that you came from, and also your work with Code First Girls and what Code First Girls are trying to do for the community, for the women and the non-binary in our community. So thank you so much for joining us today. Just a little reminder for everyone that's watching, there are still tickets for next weekend from the 25th of March to the 27th of March. Please register and join us for Techstars Startup Weekend for Women, and we will see you there. Thank you guys. Bye.